Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a little project I want to do today, and I just thought I would turn on my camera and bring you along. I have been on a mission to use up some things in my stash. If you've seen my other videos, I've mentioned it several times. The other day I saw Pam at the Paper Outpost. She was making these little pockets out of playing cards, and she would take them and kind of cut one in half and then reattach them, and you end up with these little tiny pockets, which is fine. But I thought I have all of these Project Life cards. These are like the old school pocket scrapbooking cards. Lots of people have come out with their own versions of these since this time, but I have these and I thought I would do something similar but with these bigger cards. So they come in both the 4x6 and the 3x4 size, and you can use them together. And so what I'm going to do is basically just kind of a mass make of a bunch of pockets for some journals that I'm working on. So one of the things is, some of these colors may not be the colors that I am currently using or inspired by or whatever, but you could certainly cover these with any kind of paper that you wanted to. I will say that the Project Life cards, these particular ones, are a nice heavyweight card or card stock, and so I feel like they're going to hold up well for how I want to use them. Some of other pocket cards that I've gotten through the years are maybe just a little bit thinner paper or whatever. You can use kind of whatever you want, but for this particular card, I'm just going to kind of go through and show you some of the ideas and different ways that you can use these to make your own. So I'm taking this 4x6 pocket and going to use that as the base. And then I'm adding one of the 3x4s just across the middle. I'm going to make a double pocket. And this will actually fit on a page like in a journal and just give a lot of little journaling space. And again, these may not be colors that I'm going to particularly use right now, but this is just kind of creating the substrate for all of these. I'll go back and decorate them later. I actually do have a journal that's got some blues and greens. I might be able to use this in there. I'm not quite sure, but you can kind of see here, I just made a double pocket, and then depending on how you glue the 4x6 part down, you could actually make a third pocket, like if you had a really large tag or something like that. So this is just one of the ways, and that used up, a few of my cards here. Like I said, I have a bunch of these cards. I just haven't used them in a long time because I don't really do pocket scrapbooking anymore, or my memory keeping has kind of changed through the years, and some of the styles that I had are just maybe not what I would really use right now. Like my style has changed, color schemes have changed and that kind of stuff, but I have them all sitting there and I just don't want them to go to waste because, it was good money was spent on them. And also, I have a lot of them. Some of them I got on clearance and that kind of stuff. And so I just want to feel like I'm finding a way to use up some of these things that have been in my stash for a while. So here again, I'm taking another one of the 4x6 cards, and I'm going to make kind of a large pocket with this. I was trying to decide, at first I thought I was going to do the two that had the same pattern on there, which you could certainly do. But I really liked having the one in the middle with the grid just to kind of break up some of, all of that blue. I did distress some or most of these with some distressing, or it's actually archival ink in ground espresso is actually the color. I prefer doing that just so that I know that it's going to be permanent when it dries. I know a lot of people use oxide inks. You could certainly do that. I just happen to like the archival ink formula for this as well. And just gluing around the edges here and making another one of those kind of double pockets. On this one, I did use a big circle punch to kind of create some notches on there. I do actually have like a notch punch too, but it's not as kind of gradual, I guess. And so, but you could certainly do that as well. So this card is actually one of the Project Life cards. It's a 4x6, but it's designed to be folded to go in a 3x4 pocket. And so it is already scored down the middle. So basically I'm just taking advantage of that, and I'm going to just fold it over and glue down two of the sides and create a little pocket. And then I can glue this down. I feel like it's pretty neutral with this kind of light blue and the grid on there that I could use it. Could certainly decorate it. I could see adding some other papers and stuff to it, and I will decorate these again. But like I said, for today, this is kind of just a mass make of a bunch of different bases. So I have another one of these. These are actually two of the 3x4 size. And this one I'm just marking on it because I don't want it to be only 3x4. I'm going to kind of extend it down just a little bit to make it a little bit longer. So just kind of make these cards work for you. Don't feel afraid to cut them up, use them, take a piece. I've even And some of the other ones in the past, I've taken an element and just cut out the element. I figure I have so many of them that if I'm using it at all, at least it's better than it just sitting over in my stash. So again, I just punched a little thumb notch in the top, and then I'm going to glue this down. And this gives room, especially in like a junk journal, gives room for writing on the pocket itself. And then of course, if I tuck a tag or whatever in there, or some ephemera, I can use that. And then I have this little piece that I cut off. And so I have this other pattern that's got this grid that's kind of like a peachy color. The colors aren't really showing up true on the camera. I'm not quite sure why, but anyway, so I'm just adding that, and that's just going to be a little shallow pocket. So you can see, you know, I didn't even really waste part of that card. And then this one is a 4x6 that's designed to go this way, but I don't really... Generally, I don't make any of my journals that wide, and so I want to cut it down a little bit. So I'm going to make it almost like more of a square. So I kind of just eyeballed this. I cut off a little bit of the top of this one because that's where the pocket is going to be. And I'm just kind of getting an idea for where I want. I think in the end I did end up doing about 4 inches, so it makes this almost square. Not quite square, but close. It's like it ends up being, I think, 4 by 4.5 or whatever. But you can, you know, do it however you want. You just kind of eyeball it however you want to. I just like the idea of these numbers kind of running along there, and I feel like the gray on there is going to be neutral. I can use this in some other ways, and I can still decorate it and add things up. I am rounding some of the corners that I do cut off because the Project Life corner cards come with the corners already rounded. And some of that, when I'm doing the pocket, if I cut it off, sometimes I'll round it and sometimes I don't. It just kind of depends. I have no rhyme or reason for why I do that for each card, but I am just going to distress this before I glue it down because it's a lot easier than doing it after. So I tried to cut out a lot of that so you didn't have to just see me inking cards. But on this one, you can see I just kind of came down and just kind of seeing where I want to put this card. And then on this one, this is a 3x4 card, and I really like the design of this one. And so I wanted to cover up this other card that I had a quote on it. And so I want to cover up that quote because it doesn't apply. These cards actually came from a Project Life, like a wedding, create a wedding album thing back in the day when I was doing wedding albums and baby books and all those kinds of things. And so I obviously know I'm not going to use that quote. So I'm just going to put this card on the top kind of strategically on there so that it's going to cover up that quote and I can still use the card. And then that more neutral one is just kind of sitting down there at the bottom. And then I have this one where I think I cut that one pretty much directly in half. And I'm going to use 2 other Project Life cards, the 3x4 size, and just make 2 pockets. These will just be 2 identical ones. I just liked this color combination, and I have a journal in mind for these to go in, so I think that will work. And then I ended up with just 2, and you can see on this one I did not cut the thumb notches on here. Again, I have no rhyme or reason for when I do or when I don't. I do what feels right at the time, I guess. Some of it has to do with the contrast between the background and the pocket itself. So having that notch just kind of gives it a little bit more of a break. You can kind of see, especially like this one where I'm using 2 identical patterns. I did go ahead and cut that thumb notch out, and then I inked that as well so that you can see the difference between the 2 cards. Obviously, when I decorate it, then that will even stand out more, but that is kind of one of the reasons. And that one, instead of doing, you know, a vertical, I did a horizontal way on that one. And then on this one, I just cut off maybe an inch of this one, and I'm going to use that same kind of color combination, but I'm doing the pocket higher up on the card. Again, you can do this however way you want. Sometimes I cut them in half, sometimes I cut off an inch. It, you know, just whatever felt right. I just wanted to cover up more of the background, and this will give me a bigger space to decorate on the pocket side of this as well. And then I have another set of 3x4s here, and again, this one has a quote on it, and so I'm just coming down as close to the quote as I can and cutting that off. And I really liked these because they have this really beautiful lace background, and so I wanted to be able to keep that because it really wouldn't even need to decorate it too much because it's already got that beautiful lace on there, and it's kind of hard to see on camera. I have the new Tim Holtz mixed media mat that goes over my glass mat, and I realize there's kind of a weird thing that's happening on my desk. Let me know if that's too distracting. I can go back to just using my black mat if I need to, but I was trying to do something that was white because I just prefer to work on like a nonstick mat or whatever. But anyway, let me know if that's creating some weird things when you're watching this video. But this card again has another quote on it, and so I'm just cutting that part off and just kind of utilizing the design on here with the background. And again, if you're planning on decorating these cards fully, like covering them so that you can't actually see what's in the background, then you certainly wouldn't have to worry about like coordinating patterns or anything like that. If you just had some cards and you wanted to glue them together and decorate them, you could certainly do that. So here's some other pink ones that have that sort of lace on the edges. And so this one I'm going to cut down roughly down the middle. It wasn't quite exact down the middle. And then I'm going to end up making this 3x4 into more of a square as well. Kind of off camera here, but I'm just punching the thumb notch on that one. And you can kind of see. And then as I'm holding it up, I'll just kind of eyeball where I want that to be. And it ends up being square-ish, not really square, but closer. And you can see there, I'm just doing the same thing with the inking and then gluing it down. On this one, I'm just gluing down on the sides. Obviously, I'm not gluing across the bottom. That way, if I have something that's long, it can go the full length of it. So I didn't want to have to limit how shallow that pocket would be. So then I have basically those same cards, but in like a gray tone. And so this one I'm going to cut down the middle and do the same exact thing, but just in a different colorway. And like I said, I just kind of eyeball this, and then I don't think I did the thumb notch on that one, for some differentiation, I guess, amongst the cards. And so these are kind of what we ended up with. So this is the tall, is basically 6 inches tall by 4, so in the vertical way. And then this one is the one that we trimmed down just a little bit. And then the 3x4 with the pockets, all the different sizes. There's a lot of things that you can really do with these. And I plan on decorating these to use in some of the journals that I have or that I am creating. So let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in, to see how I end up decorating these pockets to use in a journal. I really enjoy making ephemera and stuff. I don't know, that might not be everybody's cup of tea, but to me, it's just really relaxing and a lot of fun. So I just thought I would kind of share everything that we did here on this mass make today. And then, like I said, let me know if you'd like to see future videos like this, or like to see me decorate these for some of the journals that I have coming up. And if you like this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And until next time, bye.